Hello and thanks for joining us this Thursday. I'm Mackailyn Johnson. Here's a look at the stories we're following right now. The Central Arkansas community of Sherwood was rocked by a shooting at CHI St. Vincent Hospital in Sherwood. What we have learned in 2 minutes.
After ripping through Florida's southwest coast, Ian is now making its way across the state and out into the Atlantic, where it could intensify once again. I'm Cristian Benavides in Orlando, where there's the potential for historic flooding.
And cooler temps at home mean that spooky season and the Sanderson sisters are finally here. Coming up in our must-see entertainment news, how to catch Hocus Pocus 2. But first, meteorologist Scott Cover is here with us. Scott, it was really cold this morning, if I say so myself.
It was rather chilly. In fact, some of the coolest temperatures we've seen since actually April. Some locations dropped into the 30s in northern Arkansas, several folks in the 40s, and then we did drop into the 50s in the metro. Felt pretty crisp out there this morning, but as you're going to notice, our temperatures starting to warm up. In fact, we're at 70 degrees right now in the capital city, 68 in Russellville, 70 this afternoon in Pine Bluff. We're going to see those temperatures continue to climb under a mostly sunny sky. Eventually, however, that clear sky allows our temps to yet again drop into the 50s overnight tonight. Some locations back in the 40s. It is quite breezy outside. Just got a wind gust of 17 miles per hour in Little Rock, up to 22 miles per hour in Pine Bluff, especially there in the eastern side of the state where we're seeing more of those winds. Our high today, 78 degrees, truly a comfortable afternoon with a couple more of those on the way. Unfortunately, as nice as it is, little to no rain chances anytime soon. I have brand new data regarding our drought. We'll go over that in a moment, as well as an update on Ian, which as of the last hour is expected to re-strengthen into a hurricane and make landfall yet again in the United States. Details on that track coming right up.
Thanks, Scott. Now to a story we first brought to you right here at noon yesterday. Terrifying moments at CHI St. Vincent North Hospital in Sherwood after a shooting on Wednesday. And new this afternoon, the suspect, Raymond Lovett, was arraigned this morning in court. He pled not guilty. Lovett was found by authorities at an Exxon gas station in Little Rock within 2 hours of the shooting. When authorities made it to CHI St. Vincent, the suspected killer had already fled, but they found a person shot and killed. A 21-year-old man identified as Leighton Whitfield. This afternoon, he remains behind bars at the Pulaski County Detention Center. Lovett is charged with capital murder and aggravated assault. Police tell us they believe this was an isolated incident.
This appears to be the suspect and the victim. They knew each other.
Our prayers go out to our patients, their families, our heroic co-workers and their families.
Christian Robertson, the suspect's sister, reached out to THV 11 exclusively to share her family's perspective. Lovett taking a gun into a hospital, shooting and killing someone is not something she ever expected to hear. Robertson tells us Raymond Lovett stopped by her home after the shooting before turning himself in. Now, she wasn't there at the time, but says he told family members he, quote, threw his life away, would be going to jail for a long time, and that he shot someone.
Protecting a girl does not justify him doing this whatsoever. He's really horrible and sad, and I feel so sorry for the families out there that are involved in this and affected by this, because I can tell you that me and my family are definitely affected by this and shocked.
Again, the suspect, Raymond Lovett, remains in custody this afternoon. Now, our team has worked to reach out to the victim's family as well, but have not yet heard back. Now, this morning, we reported Lovett was in custody without bond, but after his arraignment today, he now has a bond of $500,000. And developing this afternoon, an arrest has been made after 3 false school threats in Pine Bluff. A student at Watson Chapel High School is now facing felony charges after being accused of texting law enforcement about fake threats at the school. The Jefferson County Sheriff's investigators say they booked 18-year-old Renisha Washington yesterday afternoon. They say she's responsible for sending fake reports about a shooting, bomb threat, and stabbings at the school, all on different days this month. Investigators tracked down Washington's phone and say she admitted she knew what she did was wrong. And now that we know recreational marijuana will be on your ballot in November, THV 11 is looking into what that could mean for our state. We have a better idea of the financial impacts that could bring if passed. Our Ian Russell followed the money and shows us what Arkansas could potentially see.
We may still be a ways away from even voting on recreational marijuana, but those in favor are, of course, hopeful it passes. And now they say they've got the data to help make their case.
We're really putting our money where our mouth is with bringing forth this opportunity for Arkansans to vote on.
You'd have a hard time finding anyone more for recreational marijuana in Arkansas than Eddie Armstrong.
So a vote for issue 4 is really important. We encourage people to go vote.
As chairman of Responsible Growth Arkansas's ballot question committee, getting this on your ballot was only the first step. Now he's got to get people to vote for it, and Armstrong says they've got the data to back that up.
Knowing that we will have this type of new revenue potential is very exciting, and I think for the industry, while they're focused on other aspects of it, this is just good for the state of Arkansas.
But how good is good? They're predicting potentially $3 billion in impact.
You know, it's an eye raiser.
That's from data put together by the Arkansas Economic Development Institute.
That we're trying to model an industry that's brand new and really doesn't have a whole lot of data to give us any sort of information about.
That money won't just go to those in the marijuana industry either. Armstrong says projections show nearly $45 million dedicated to law enforcement and $30 million dedicated to cancer research.
This is bigger than just the smoking cessation of cannabis. This can really help those that are ill, those that have anxiety or sleep depression.
Of course, those projections are just an educated guess as to what the natural state could see. But for Armstrong, it's the spark they need.
It's a good business decision for voters, and it's a good business decision for the state.
And of course, recreational marijuana is now something that Arkansans will see on that ballot. Election day is set for November 8th, and early voting begins on October 24th. In Little Rock, Ian Russell, THV 11 News.
Now we've got more information on that data over on our website, thv11.com. Now those who are against recreational marijuana say those economic benefits don't outweigh their fears of an increase of crime and drug problems. A heads up for people living near Pine Bluff Arsenal. Don't be alarmed if you hear explosions or see smoke throughout the day. Workers from the Little Rock Air Force Base Explosive Ordnance Detachment will be destroying old military explosives. Now it's only planned for today. And happening later today, the Arkansas Department of Health, along with other Arkansas agencies, will be coming together to help raise awareness about suicide prevention. According to officials, the Arkansas 988 Crisis Call Center receives almost 1,000 calls a month from Arkansans thinking about committing suicide. The ceremony will take place at the state capitol, and it'll include the reading of Governor Asa Hutchinson's Suicide Prevention Awareness Month proclamation, along with raising more awareness about the new 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. And you can get a free flu shot in Cabot today. The Arkansas Department of Health is hosting a round of community flu clinics this week. The one today is at the Veterans Park Community Center across from Cabot High School. Shots will be given from until 4 p.m. today. They're free for everyone, but if you have insurance, bring that card with you. Survivors and family members of several of those killed in the mass shooting at a Highland Park, Illinois Independence Day parade are suing gunmaker Smith & Wesson. They filed 11 lawsuits against the manufacturer of the rifle used in the attack, accusing the company of illegally targeting its ads at young men at risk of committing mass violence. 7 people were killed and dozens injured in the rampage last July 4th. Now in world news, the U.S. has announced a new round of military aid for Ukraine, included in the $1.1 billion package are 18 HIMARS launchers. The long-range mobile rockets have seen heavy use during Ukraine's recent advances into Russian-occupied territory. White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre said the White House will help Ukraine as long as they need.
We will continue to stand with the Ukrainian people and provide them with the security assistance they need to defend themselves for as long as it takes.
The wife of Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas appeared in person to speak with the January 6th committee this morning. Jenny Thomas was seen walking into the office building flanked by security and her legal team. Thomas came under fire after CBS News and the Washington Post reported back in March that she sent more than a dozen messages to President Trump's then Chief of Staff Mark Meadows. In those messages, she urged Meadows to pursue efforts to overturn the 2020 election results. Inflation is near a 40-year high, and the Federal Reserve is hiking interest rates aggressively. That has many economists warning of a possible recession within the next year. To prepare for the next downturn, experts have some advice. Make sure that your emergency reserve fund can cover 6 to 12 months of living expenses, or 1 to 2 years if you're retired. Next, reduce credit card or any high interest debt. Finally, if you are considering a job change, be careful not to make a decision that is based solely on more money. Hurricane Ian made landfall yesterday and is moving across Florida, leaving destruction in its path. But forecasters predict in 2 minutes.
Hey, take a look off here towards the north and east. It is a beautiful afternoon. Look at all that blue sky out there. High pressure in control of our weather, but we're actually feeling a little influence from Ian itself. The latest on that and its future track coming right up when we return.